Dan, it's good to be back. Another week, another outfit,
Another outfit.
same set.
Another episode. I like the set though.
Yeah, I do.
I think that's why we brought it back.
It's Charlotte.
We didn't change anything.
No, I think I appreciate the travel driving from Atlanta to Charlotte just to record this.
It's a nice little car ride.
I think we mentioned last week we are grateful for certain people. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't call them super fans, but they're in that category.
Yeah, the fans.
And I think I want to name one of them.
Let's hear it.
But then you offend if you don't, so I probably won't.
Yeah, we'll wait. Maybe next episode.
Yeah, I won't.
I mean, he's yeah.
But I will mention though, as a Christmas present, I did receive this Yeti mug from my brother.
Okay.
So that gets a shout out.
Yeah,
Scott.
I like it. I like that a lot, Scott. I would like mine in black, Scott.
Well, his family they are Yeti super fans.
Okay. So they got the cooler, they got everything.
You name it. They have a kitchen cupboard dedicated.
Let's
Boom.
go.
Yeti. Like there's four in the family, but there's more than 4 mugs.
They could utilize
Different sizes.
Yeah.
You know, is it hot, cold?
Depending on what you want to drink.
Thermos.
Yeah.
Is it this? Is it that? You name it. Yeti. High five. Go Yeti.
Yeah, I like them.
Big shout out. I have to say too though, big shout out because this bad boy and a number of other gifts, Giftful. What an app.
It has changed my life, my family's life.
It's helped me be a better husband,
Yeah.
a better father. Like, I know that sounds stupid, and I know that almost sounds sarcastic, but it actually has. Because a few months ago, I said to Nat, babe, I want to buy you stuff just because I know a gift means a lot.
Yeah.
Just as a love language. And so I was like, I want to buy you stuff, but there has been on occasion, I want to be generous and I buy something. It is way off.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, that's cute that you think I'd fit that. Oh, that's kind of my color, but kind of not. And it's like, oh, Giftful on the other hand.
I mean, even just for Mother's Day, this last Mother's Day, you know, I think I've talked about it within the first couple episodes. I was really bad. My wife's love language is gifts. And so
Not beers.
not beers, no, gifts. And so I, have utilized it so much over the last year, but even Mother's Day, it came in so handy because she's like, hey, have you thought of any gifts? I'm like, did you update your Giftful? If that Giftful is not updated, then I can't get blamed. So now...
Yeah, Lily's like, oh, Dan, that's a stale gift.
Right.
What do you mean?
There's no excuse. It was on your gift. And you can create different categories, birthday, just house. It's changed my family's life.
So there you go, Giftful. Check it out. I know we're a little while away from Christmas, but it's the perfect time to load it up.
You can put your wedding gifts on there. You can put birthday gifts on there. Your friends, like... That's why my sister downloaded it a couple weeks ago.
Let's go.
So yeah, it's
huge
helped
props
a lot.
Dan, this episode, I know last week it was raining, it's miserable here, but I want to know what's your knowledge on the weather in Japan?
They actually do get some rain, just because based on the fields that I see, it's always really green. Now, I couldn't tell you what part of Japan that it rains more than other parts.
Yeah.
But you know what? Japanese culture, they're always very happy.
So there must be
very respectful.
A good amount of sunshine.
Yes, yeah, I would expect that they have decent weather because I just feel like they're very respectful, always joyful, smile on the face.
There must be a direct correlation to the amount of sunshine in a country and happiness. Because you think like Hawaii... sunny, happy, laid back, ukuleles, like London, clouds. They're just sad, and I don't say that to offend. Like that's sad is an acronym for a disease or something.
Yeah,
of just like clouds move away, give me some sunshine.
Yeah, and I bet you when the sun does come out, everybody's happier.
Oh man, we were there on our honeymoon. And it was like a, what is it in Fahrenheit? I don't even know, like a 60-degree day. People out in the bikinis in a park, like getting a tan. And Nat and I were like, jumpers on, like, you know, and just, but Japan. So I
Yeah.
think there's some snow as well. A lot of Australians go there for the snowfields.
Yeah. They got mountains. They got quite a bit of mountains up there. Yeah.
Not sure about any other terrain. Like, is there? They must.
I wish I could say something, but I guess that just means a trip to Japan.
Are you thinking you're?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So if you want to bless us and watch an episode
could do a
of
live episode.
from we would. I'm happy to say we would do almost anything you want us to do with Japan.
Now,
But it's got to be legal and like moral. We're moral people.
yeah, and anything. I mean, I'm all for Tokyo. Do you know another city in Japan? Can you name another one?
Osaka.
Okay, I couldn't have said that. But
I
I'd
don't
be
know
willing
why.
to go there
Why
too.
don't I know that? I don't know.
I'd be willing to go there to do a live episode. Just
Yep.
you guys let us know. How
Yeah.
about-
So yeah, if you want to book us, no, we'll book flights. Just direct transfer money, and then we'll go from there
Yeah.
and book it.
Our Cash App, our bank account, Social
Done.
Security, everything's gonna be right here.
All right. So thank you. This is another episode of Just Dan's. I'm Dan,
I'm Dan.
and we're dads. And I've got 4 beautiful kids. And Dan, how many you got?
I got 2 beautiful kids.
And so we're dads, we're Dan's, we're also husbands.
Yeah, I got a beautiful wife named Lily.
Oh, and my Nat. I think Natalie is a beautiful name. Always have. I think it's timeless. I think Nat is a beautiful person who matches her name. So we're I would say we're pretty blessed.
I would agree.
But I think the unique thing about us is we don't take life too seriously. Serious enough, but we're happy to poke fun at ourselves as well. Because I
feel we do that.
Like going through life uptight and serious, like how tiring is it?
Yeah, you just not much. What's up with you? I just feel like you have to have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, well, I mean, don't critique yourself too much, but you got to laugh at yourself sometimes.
And so this episode, what we're going to talk about is we are going to go into parenting, and we're going to go into like, this isn't a seminar. Don't like, if you don't have kids or if you're going through a hard time and stuff, don't be like, we want to try and it's going to be lighthearted. And I know it's similar to, we had a chat about screens. This is not screen related. It almost will get you thinking about your childhood.
Yeah.
I hope and my prayer is that there's no trauma or anything like that in childhood, but just like that, we want to be encouraging of you if you're a parent, or if you even look after kids, or if you're at the supermarket and you witness other parents.
A better understanding.
Like an understanding.
Yeah.
But also being mindful of this. And Dan, I don't even want to use this title or phrase because I've only just Googled it recently. Gentle parenting. I didn't know it was a thing. It's new-ish for me.
Yeah.
Can you explain what you think gentle parenting is?
Yeah, I heard the term a few years ago, and some of the things that I picked up on it was you let your child decide certain things, so certain consequences.
So who's the parent?
You don't want to say no. And so, obviously there's a lot more that goes into it, but those were the 2 things that stuck out to me the most.
Yeah.
Was, they don't use the word, or maybe they do use the word discipline, but there's not a lot of discipline. It's more so,
discipline.
Yeah, you can't discipline people. So yeah, it's more so let your child make the choice, and we'll kind of see how it plays out. We'll talk about it in a lot of, hearing about their feelings. Again, I'm not saying these are bad things. This is just things that I've heard. I think you do need to hear about your child's feelings.
And that's, I think, you're not making that assumption or basis on what you've looked at in the newspaper or you've read online. I think, Dan, you've come from a position of, you've been in youth ministry, worked around kids, East Coast, West Coast. You've traveled enough.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just small town. I only know this little
right
pocket. So gentle parenting, from what I can research and understand is it's very much steering well away from the authoritarian type parent, dad, what my way or highway kind of that, so disassociation to that. But I find there's a swing in parenting. And I think we might have mentioned it before of often what happened in either our childhood or something triggered, our default is to go as far away as possible from it. And so therefore there's this big gap. And I was talking to my brother-in-law of like, we got to catch ourselves before we get there, but we've got to take that with a pinch of salt, but actually there's some good in it. Try and do better and be better and all those things which every generation wants to do better, you would hope.
For sure. Yeah, and I think, when it comes to anything, you can either go so far this way or so far this way. Yeah. And it really is. I think parenting is a lot of trying to find, what we grew up, how our parents were. We can say good, bad, however you want to say it, but then also look at it from a different perspective. Be like, well, I grew up like this because of my parents, and I want to make sure my kids have that same thing because it impacted me deeply in a good way. But then also you're taking those same things and being like, okay, I definitely don't want to do this. I see why they did it. Maybe I can just have a different perspective on it, right? For an example, it's like you tell a kid no. They're in their why stage. Why? Yeah. And sometimes you get to the point where you're like, because I said so. But their heart really is like, well, why can't I do that? And sometimes they're not mature enough for them to even understand what it is you're trying to explain. But I do want my kid, and I'm not saying my parents did this. I'm like, just because. But, that was the first example I thought of, was like, I do want my kids to be able to understand why they shouldn't be able to do certain things.
100%. I think now, I got to say, I'm a passionate person. I've lost it on occasions. I've lost my temper. I've lost my cool. I know. Today, it's so contrary to us Dans. Like, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Like, there are moments where I'm probably embarrassed as a parent. I've lost it to a degree of either too quick or too severe. And it's like, I caught myself, or I haven't sometimes. And it's like, oh, okay. I have on occasion though. I think I caught myself where you are like mid lecture. You are just you're going ham on this lecture. And then all of a sudden, a new piece of evidence comes to light, and you're wrong. I have needed to dial it down on a dime. And it's like, I think it's acknowledged. I think it's where I know some people are like, I'm never wrong. Like, just sit and be quiet. And that, or I remember I teaching story once. I was teaching, and teachers have to, because discipline isn't just a parent-child thing.
Right.
Discipline could be in the workplace. Discipline could be the teacher, the student, youth worker, the student, like all the things. And so I'm mid-disciplining this student once, and I used the phrase "shut up." And I know the name of this student. I won't mention his name. Instantly, he went from like to the power, and he was like, "Mr. Nowak, did you just say?" And it was like, all right, just go back into class. Like it just I lost all things. So I think parenting, I've done it too.
Yeah.
The kids have just brought something to my attention, or Nat's walked in the room and be like, hey babe, I actually was there and I heard he or she, or I saw this, or I've actually checked and it's not that.
Right. Yeah.
It's acknowledging fault. It's there going, hey, sorry, I'm human, circling back on that. But all right, gentle parenting, we kind of know it. Dan, I want to talk about now then, this is a big one, but like Because really, people kind of go, okay, if it's not that, because I'm a firm believer of discipline.
Yeah.
Have you ever disciplined your children?
Yes.
Wow.
I still discipline my children.
But how cruel of you.
Yeah, it's a tough world we live in.
Dan, you must be a tyrant.
I guess that's how I was raised, was just be disciplined.
Yeah, monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And someone's like, all right, all right. Really? Do you think your kids are going to be messed up because you discipline them?
No, not in the least bit. Because it goes back to the balance, right? Of, yes, I think there needs to be consistent discipline, but when all it is discipline, 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 and you're not given the reasons why, or there's no teaching moments in that, then it comes to the authoritative figure of just like, oh, well, I just get disciplined. But
yeah,
I would hope my kids are disciplined in love, so they know everything that we do is out of love. And they might not understand it now, but I have had to call my dad multiple times and say, man, I understand why you did what you did. I understand why you did these certain things, or you protected us from those certain things. I didn't understand it when I was young. Like my curfew, I think when I was like a senior in high school, was maybe 11 p.m. I had friends that were younger than me. They could stay out however late they wanted to. And I never understood it. And finally, like when I was older, it hit me. It's like nothing really does happen, like good happen after midnight. And again, we lived outside of town, so they were worried about driving. But now as a parent, like I get why they were so worried about me driving at night with the amount of drunk drivers. You just don't think of certain things when you're little. And so, you know, for me, discipline, I think, helped me a lot growing up. Not I didn't understand it all the time, but I don't think you need to understand everything when you're younger, and you just need to trust your parents. And especially if you have that relationship with your parents of like, they do want what's best for me. And we try to reaffirm that with our kids all the time. And it's hard to when you do have those blow up moments of just like, what are you doing? What? I've told you this a million times. But then it goes back to, okay, I got to realize I'm in the wrong. I have to realize like, I might have gone overboard in this, or I heard this wrong. And that's where the conversation happens of like, if you apologize, if you have those conversations with them, they're going to see that and they're going to do those same things. And it's a conversation we have all the time. And I have to remind myself, was like, it's very easy to come up with excuses. I was just having this conversation with my son of like, we can make an excuse for everything. Like, why didn't I catch this touchdown? Why didn't I finish my homework? And you can blame so many things. I didn't feel good, or the weather was bad, or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's like, if we stop blaming things or people and we take responsibility for ourselves as adults, as parents, that's going to reflect for our kids. And that's not something we're ever going to get right 100% of the time. We're still going to grow in that. We're still going to have to learn to apologize. We're never going to be perfect and be like, all right, I got it figured out. I'm never going to have to apologize to my kids again, because something's going to come up.
I think because also some parents then shy away from talking at all. I think a lot of dads are silent, and I think that's really hard. So in their silence, they're like, well, I'm not kicking them. I'm not screaming at them. It's a friendly atmosphere, but I think that can still be as icy cold.
Yeah.
And so with passion comes volume or animation. And so sometimes, that you got to catch yourself too. You're like, am I reacting because of violence? Am I doing it in a way which is disciplinarian, but then at the same time laced with love?
Yeah.
And it's trying to pepper things of like, no, my heart is for you. I think a few things, some tips that I found in disciplining is eyeballs. Eyeballs, like eye contact, helps big time. Unpack the why. Explain, this is why I'm doing this. It's out of love. And I know, and even acknowledge, I know you can't see this now. You might not even see this in some time.
Right.
Another tip I would say is boundaries, firm but fair. Boundaries are a winner. I can't believe, I forget even the author. I got gifted a book, Boundaries for Teens, and they've written countless New York best-selling books of just the title's Boundaries, but all the different categories of boundaries. But chapter 1 in nearly all of the books is like, it's okay to have a boundary.
Yeah.
I thought that was like that. Yeah, okay. And I think there are some, but there are so many other little things. But I would say be in community and share that. So be vulnerable enough to be share with other dads, to be or other parents, to be like, hey, man, have you encountered this before? Like, what happens when your kid asks the why and you don't actually have a good response? So you're like, I'm stuck. I don't know how to answer.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think even just, when you said the why, keeping that conversation, that communication,
Mm-hmm.
and I always try to, reaffirm it. We've had the conversation. This is why you're being disciplined. This is what's going to happen. I'll bring it up even later.
Mm.
And, my kids will be like, why are you bringing it up again? It's like, no, because this is a learning moment. This is a teaching moment, not just for you, but also for me. Like, we have to I try to help them understand, like, this is something I'm still growing in as well. And the better we do it and the more we do it, the better we're going to get. And so it's just that constant communication, that relationship with
because you're talking to them, but I think also as a parent, you're drawing the best out of them all the time.
For sure, yeah.
So what you're trying to do is not eliminate and create this fake person. They are who they are. And I think recently I've read, like, you can't create your kids. Your kids are created.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so in doing that, in drawing the good out, you then have to look at the flaws that we all have. So for me, I identified years into parenting when they go against my will, when they completely disrespect me by going and doing the opposite. If I say don't do and then they do, that defiance just sets me off, you know? But the same thing, we identify as parents the flaws in our children. But it's then turning that around to then go, hey, Callista, I know that this is an area which you find hard. But if you tap into that and you use that in these areas, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And it's there going, oh, like, so what? Like, I don't have to like get rid of this. I've got to steward something. I've got to look after this part of my DNA. And then actually I can use it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like, one of my children, they're stubborn. So it's like, okay, good. That's a good thing because you're so stubborn that when you are faced with opposition or whatever, and you know the right answer, and it's a good godly answer, be stubborn.
Yes.
Huh? What do you mean I can be stubborn? Yes, be stubborn.
Yes. We were just, Lily and I always have this conversation because Annalie, everybody thinks she's shy, but she is not a shy girl. She's very outspoken on things that she feels, on things that she believes is truth. And so, like, when you have a daughter like that, that's 9, I don't want to take that away from her because I'm thinking in the workforce, she could be just a boss on, she doesn't back down. She doesn't let people tell her what to do. Like, she's stuck in, no, this is right. I'm going to do this. Or if we just even say, only go to bed. What time is it? It's 9:00. Actually, it's 8:56. It's like she's very technical with those things. And so it's like, I love those things. And we just got to help her use those in the right scenarios and situations. And the same thing, we have a kid or a few kids on our team. They have emotion like crazy. And I love the emotion and passion they have on the football field. But the conversation this last Saturday at the game was like, I love your passion. I love how much you care. But we just need to filter it on how we verbalize, right? Like,
So you're affirming. You didn't come in hot and heavy.
No.
And be like, don't remove that. It's like going, man, wow, that's incredible that you've got this huge emotion. So it's then they feel validated. It's in like, oh, he sees me, he knows me.
Right. I'm going to help you understand how to learn how to filter it and how to use it in a positive way. On the football field, you have to have a lot of aggression. So they're upset, they're mad, their emotions are high, but you have to learn how to filter that because now you can get a penalty for your team, for yourself. And it's like, I don't want you to lose that. But how can we use it in a different way?
Yeah.
And that's just parenting, right? Like you said, your kids are created. You can't create your kids. They're already created, but there's things that you can help guide them to where some people might look at it as like, ooh, that's not a good quality to have. No, that's a great quality to have.
Yeah.
But we just have to help them learn how to use that.
Because I think so. Even on that, so this podcast we're talking about disciplining children. Not the dirty word. I feel weird saying it. It's hard, but it's so necessary.
Yeah.
And it's so important, and it's so far from gentle parenting. I think it's necessary. And if you have criticism, please feel free to add a chat, and we want to have that conversation about it, because there are. I understand the sentiment, but I think sometimes we go so far.
Yeah.
Some groups just go so far, and I would say, it was hard a couple of years ago when Murphy was going through the height of cancer treatment, and he is on some significant medication and mood altering drugs, but yet we had to discipline. And you are in a hospital room with a boy going through active, heavy treatment for cancer, stage 4 cancer, but you have to discipline.
Right.
And it rips your heart out, but we knew we had to. And because of also the medication, the moods, it was like, whoa. And the funny part is, like, sometimes we would, discipline. Murphy, you can't say that to the nurse. Murphy, don't do that. Murphy, and he would then, his wow, these fireworks. I'm the worst kid in the world. You'll never be able to love me. Why am I doing that? I can't help it. I love you. And it's like, whoa. Oh, like, where are we now? It was just like ding, 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 ding. But Nat and I had to remain consistent, because also we had 3 kids watching, and they were then the audience going, he can't get away with everything.
Right.
So you're going to go, you're right. So we have to be firm but fair, and they don't understand that he's on medication.
Yeah.
So I think that's, I'm not advocating for us as dads. It's our right.
Grab the whip and let's go. Yeah.
The belt never hurt me, But I do think we do need to discipline.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen it as well in the classroom, and also in the, doing church youth work as well. Some parents would walk in at pickup time at the end of the school day or whatever and be like, how come my kid is not my kid for you? And it's like, oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
And I know it's a constant battle. So I think, to encourage you to finish up, I want to encourage the parents, because it's consistent.
Right.
I've always said parenting is whack-a-mole. If you think you've dealt with this, boom, there's something else. And I think when it gets to that point of a lot of parents now are exacerbated.
Yeah.
They're at the end of their tether. They're exhausted. And so because of we all carry our own junk. And so we're carrying work stress, or we're carrying bills and finance, we're carrying whatever, all these things. And then that child just wants to know what's for dinner. And it's like, haven't we talked about it? Isn't it on the list on the wall? Can't you just, just those little triggers, whatever the trigger is. I think sometimes you've got to be fair to yourself as a parent, or as a teacher or leader or whatever.
Yeah.
I think if I were to encourage you, it's okay. That sometimes we lose it, but it's coming back to that. But to encourage you, consistent, just keep going. Just keep going. Dan, what have you got for him?
I think that was the best way. Consistent. Yeah. Consistency is key. They say that in everything, right? Yep. If you stay consistent with something, it's just going to not only better you, better those around you. And so I think, like you said, there's going to be so many things thrown your way. And just as long as you can stay consistent with your child, your parenting, and I think lead with love in everything that you do.
It's good.
You're going to get upset. You're going to get frustrated. You might raise your voice. But I think, again, going back to apologizing, making sure they know, like, I made a mistake in this. They're going to see those things. Just keep it consistent.
I read somewhere, even as a tip, like, even whisper yell into your pillow is like a step forward. It's a step in the right direction, and it's just like, whatever it is, identify it. And I have read somewhere recently, identify, name it, and then you own it.
Yeah.
And once you own stuff, then you're like, oh, great.
got this.
I've got this.
Yeah.
You know, so find out whatever trigger is, put it in a little box, label it. You now own that issue. All right, I'm Dan.
I'm Dan.
This is Just Dan's. Thank you for joining. If you know of another parent and you just want to share this, please, we would love it.
We'll give you permission to do that.
Absolutely. And just know that Giftful has made me a better husband and a better father.
Yeah. Download it.